there's, if no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all.
I am sick to death of hearing about Epstein. I am. I think simple-minded people want to keep you focused on Epstein. Because at this point, it's been so convoluted, it's been so distorted by people that are simple-minded, that seem to want to distract you from what the bigger picture going on is. And what the bigger picture going on, in my opinion, is the biblical history and whole biblical history playing out here. Like, that's the bigger thing. And there's people that want to use this simple-minded Epstein shit to turn on Trump, of course, because that they will try to do everything to turn on the man. And of course, they are the people with the biggest podcasts, the millions of followers, the same. It's simple-minded people that can't see through the biblical lens here. Trump, it doesn't matter what people want to think of Trump and Epstein. Epstein and Ghislaine were arrested under Trump's first term. End of story. Do you hear me? End of story. Now, if you go listening to Whitney Webb, you go listening to Jimmy Dore, you go listening to the liberals and the fake MAGA, okay? They're going to tell you, well, no, this is Trump protecting, and that's why he doesn't want it to come out. Oh, shut up. This is what I mean by simple-minded, okay? Like, really just, talk about working for a wicked side. But what I don't think people realize is there's a bigger picture here. The bigger picture is the whole biblical landscape here. Like with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is Ishmael. God loved Ishmael. Both Christian traditions and Islamic traditions recognize Ishmael. They recognize Saudi Arabia as the 12 Arab tribes and princes. And this new prince, King Solomon, I forget his name, but the new young one, he's kind of a hip guy. I mean, good looking, and I mean, he seems to have great ideas and plans for Saudi Arabia. And where did Trump go during his first term? Trump came into office his first term, got Epstein off the street, because going back to the 90s, Trump was calling up the lawyers saying, why is Epstein still on the street? Okay. So Trump took care of that problem, and let's move on, okay? And then he's going off to Saudi Arabia. That was the bigger picture, okay? Because the Saudi Arabia plays a big role on the biblical stage. It's just that for Christians, we don't focus on it too much, because the line of the covenant line is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But there's Abraham, Ishmael. The Ishmaelites, yes. And God loved Ishmael as much as he loved Isaac. It's just the covenant line, which means what Jesus would come through was going to be through Jacob. It doesn't mean they are less than. So, I think people sometimes think that Ishmael was bad because Ishmael mocked Isaac at one point. Well, they were brothers, but because he mocked Isaac, Ishmael and Hagar was the mother of Ishmael, were sent away. And this disturbed and upset Abraham so much. He was so stricken with sadness for this. But God said, no worries here. No worries. I'm going to make him a great nation. Many tribes, many kings. It will be a great, everything will be fine. And God took care of Ishmael and his mother. He did. But so it's not like it's the bad side. It's not. They became a great nation. It's Saudi Arabia, okay? Do they have a human rights abuse problem? They sure do, okay? But so do many other nations. You have to sometimes look past the weeds to see what is the bigger picture going on here, okay? If you continue to listen to the simple-minded Whitney Webbs and all these other people, okay, that are just Trump haters and just trying to get you distracted on simple-minded stuff, you will not see the bigger picture happening here. Okay, so Trump went to Saudi Arabia for a reason. Is that, because they are a great nation, and yet some of their descendants, okay, have gone way off the rails, okay? And I don't think that the leadership of Saudi wants this. They're not happy with Iran. But see, if you listen to people like Whitney Webb or whoever, the people on the left, they're going to tell you that the Europeans or whoever, Americans took over and they've been controlling this country. It's like, oh, please get off the simple-minded track. God raises up the kings, raises up the presidents, raises up the leaders. I don't care if you like them or not. Yeah, if you live in a country where you vote, you get a say in it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, God's going to decide. And if we put somebody in that he says, no, I'm not going to do this to my people because my people have been staying close to me and they are not a legit leader, then God will rip them down. You think God does not have to accept anything man does. But you have some of your people, some of the people that say, no, God made the creation and then he sat back and he doesn't intervene. Okay, you go and you tell every person that has recovered from alcoholism through Alcoholics Anonymous, you go tell them that God doesn't intervene. So, that said, did God want Ishmael and his descendants to persecute Jews, the Israelites? No, he didn't. No, but I think God knew it was going to happen. But I also don't think that that's the leadership's role. I like in Saudi Arabia. So, just so people realize, God explicitly promised Abraham that Ishmael would become the father of a great nation and 12 rulers, ensuring his lineage would be numerous and influential. This was fulfilled as Ishmael's descendants, known as the Ishmaelites, established significant tribes across the Arabian Peninsula and became ancestors to many Arab people. Ishmael's life in the wilderness, marked by survival and self-reliance, set a pattern for his descendants. The Ishmaelites became known for their adaptability, independence, and resilience, thriving as nomadic traders and warriors in the harsh environment of the ancient Near East. The Ishmaelites played a vital role in regional trade and politics. Their mobility and connections across vast territories contributed to the economic and cultural development of the Middle East, making them influential beyond their immediate geographical areas. Both Jewish and Islamic traditions recognize Ishmael as the ancestor of the Arab peoples. In Islam, Ishmael is especially significant, believed to have settled in Mecca and to be an ancestor of Muhammad, further amplifying the historical and spiritual impact of God's promise to him. You understand? The fulfillment of God's promise to Ishmael, even though he was not the heir of the covenant with Isaac, demonstrates God's... And the heir to the covenant is that Jesus would come through the line of Jacob. So it doesn't make Ishmael less than, not at all, because he was a son of Abraham, so he was already of greatness. Just because of that. And God protected Ishmael. So he wanted Ishmael, which is Saudi Arabia. Nobody disputes it. Saudi Arabia is like the heart of. So whatever you want to think of the Quran, even though I think it's been twisted, that's the route Ishmael went. I mean, God will likely bring all of it together in some way at some point. But that's what the bigger picture going on here is, because, Saudi Arabia does have this new bin Solomon, I guess, King bin Solomon. I like him. I think he's great. You will hear from the left and others that he's just this horrible person. No, I don't think so. I think this is the way God wanted it to play out, and then Trump got into office and immediately went there, and there was this shift happening. And I think I don't think they want all this crisis going on either. But you tie in the politics and the money, and so that's why I say, to me, Epstein at this point is low-hanging fruit, and likely something that leftists or people that don't want to ever even acknowledge the Bible as a history book don't want to look at. But the bigger thing going on is what is going on in the Middle East, and not because, end of days, but because God is shifting the whole political landscape. God's doing it. Yeah, we just sit here and watch because we're on the footstool, as God calls the earth his footstool. That is the bigger picture in my mind, that simple-minded people don't really want to focus on. They want to just stay forever focused on Epstein.